There's this one woman who stares at me from far, and I found myself being extremely bothered by the fact that I want to look, but I'm being firm. I'm lowering my gaze, and I just know she's looking while I'm lowering my gaze and walking by. But I feel this inclination to want to talk to her, to want to look, and I was extremely bothered by the fact that I felt my heart wanting to be attached to her. If you're a man and you're struggling to lower your gaze, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Emotionally, that's what I felt. Logically, I know that that's not the way of the Muslim man. That's not the way of the righteous Muslim. And I understand now that as a man, like we have the secret superpower, like it's our biggest superpower, that we can use logic to like override our emotion. And if our emotions are overriding us and are ruining our logical capabilities, then that means the logic that you're using and that you're telling yourself isn't strong enough to overpower the emotion. Because like you could be telling yourself, whether it's salah, like you know what, focus in salah, and you're not focusing, it's not working. Or if you're telling yourself, I don't want to look at this girl, I don't want to like her, I don't want to, just get her out of my head, get out of my head. But she keeps popping up in your head. That means the logic you're using isn't strong enough to overpower the emotion. So I literally thought about this and I'm like, okay, my logic isn't strong enough. I still feel this emotion, this annoying emotion, and it bothers me. And I sat and thought about this for a minute. Is what logical argument? How can I persuade myself logically to get this, to get rid of this emotion of wanting to look at her and talk to her? I wouldn't do that, by the way. I never ever have, and I've been working at that place for a few months now. Alhamdulillah, Allah is keeping me firm. What I'm saying is, I feel that emotion every time I pass by, and it's like literally an internal battle every time. Not that I'm saying I would lose or I'm scared to lose, but I'm saying I'm annoyed by that feeling because logically, alhamdulillah, we have taqwa as well, but logically, I'm like, no, it's not even a question. It's not even a question to go even look at her or talk to her. But I still feel that emotion. So how do I get rid of that emotion? So that way, it's not even not even a thought. I don't even want to think about it. She's out of my head. I pretend like she's not even existing, which sounds kind of harsh, but like you get what I mean. And so I thought about the fact that, and you probably as well, if you're not lowering your gaze, like let's shift this focus from me to you for a second. If you're struggling to lower your gaze and you're genuinely like looking every opportunity that you get, you're how much you want to bet that you're probably looking at every single girl and she's probably not even that attractive. She's probably like a solid 4 out of 10, and you still find yourself looking, and then you're like, she wasn't she wasn't even like worth looking at. Like, astaghfirullah, bro. That's because you're being so needy. Like, you have such a low standard for yourself. You don't even know what kind of woman you like. You just look at them all. And something I also realized was that if you're the kind of person who's needy and has low standards, who doesn't even know what he wants, and he just looks at 4 out of 10s, he's unable to resist looking at 4 out of 10s, not lowering your gaze is an indication that tells me you're the kind of guy that settles for less. So, what I'm saying is, if you're looking all over the place, you're needy. And because you're needy, like a bum, not lowering your gaze is an indication that tells me you're the kind of guy who settles for less. And because you're the kind of guy that settles for less, how much do you want to bet that you settle for less when you work out? You settle for less when you look for a job. You settle for less in your diet. You don't care what you eat. This is good enough. If you're the kind of guy who settles for less, you most likely settle for less in life in general. You don't know what you want, you don't know where you're going. And if you want help with that, I do have a free school community of other Muslim men also on the same journey as you, same spot as you, trying to learn and improve, trying to beat procrastination for the sake of Allah. If you'd like to join, links in the description below. It's free. Not lowering your gaze actually has a lot of negative, like detrimental impact, like negative impacts on your mind and your heart. I was learning about this a lot from there's a YouTube channel called Al Madrasatul Umuriyya. The guy's name is Abdul Rahman, and he was talking about how Ibn al-Qayyim in his book Rawdat al-Muhibbin, there's 10 benefits that he explains about lowering the gaze, and the biggest ones that struck me was 3 or 4 actually, is that lowering the gaze actually removes sadness from the heart. And I've learned that sadness is something shaitan loves, and sadness weakens the heart, and a weak heart has no motivation to move forward, no determination to do anything beneficial. It's crazy, just from not lowering the gaze. When you lower your gaze, Allah gives you insight. And I feel like this insight comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of seeing the thing for what it really is. Seeing the thing for what it really is. And I'm realizing an example I have is like the Matrix, the 9 to 5 job, seeing through it and realizing that entrepreneurship is actually a superior way. It's actually a much more purposeful way to make money. And in terms of productivity, it's like you might not see through exactly how to beat it. You might not see through the bad habits that you're doing. You don't have the insight to know how to beat procrastination. And it's like that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You might not even realize what problems you have or how to fix it or who you want to be. It could 100% genuinely be from not lowering your gaze. Like that insight that you need, Allah's blocking it. The third thing is ambition. When you lower your gaze, Allah literally gives you ambition, which is crazy. And the fourth thing was courage. Courage to speak the truth, courage to do the hard work. Courage applies to so many things. All of this because you're not lowering your gaze. You don't have any of these 4 because you're not lowering your gaze. Who would have thought that not lowering your gaze actually has a huge part to play in you being a procrastinator? Who would have thought that not lowering your gaze is ruining your productivity? It's ruining your masculinity. Do not buy into your emotions and justify with logic. Assalamu alaikum.